All right, it looks like we're live here on the ViodiTV real-time conversation for Friday, May 15th, and it's almost 5 o'clock somewhere in Florida anyhow. And speaking of Florida, one of my favorite places, some of my favorite people, Jeff Leslie, Denise Lechner, ITS Fiber. We're here together virtually. It'd be much nicer if we were in person, but it's like we're in person. So welcome to today's show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And before we get into some of the topics, which, we'll talk about some of the cool things you're doing with video conferencing in your area, some of the things you've done in the community. Why don't you kind of give us an update, both your perspective about what you're going through in Florida. I think it's a little different than what we've experienced here in California, but how have you guys been faring personally? And then we'll get into the professional part. So either one of you can start.
Well, thank you, Ken, very much. I guess it's a lot like everywhere in the country, where a lot of concern, a lot of people getting infected, and our life has certainly changed, having to stay home and keep our families safe and protected. And we're trying to follow those steps. The restaurants aren't open, nothing to do. It's kind of funny. We talk about it's getting to be vacation time, like, what are you going to do for vacation? It's like, well, where am I going to go? Can't take a plane, can't leave the state, but things are starting to improve a little bit. We're getting loosened up. We have a lot of people that migrate from up north, especially in the New York area down here. And so we have a lot of that, all the cruise ships and stuff. So early on, we got it pretty good, but I think our state got it together, and we've minimized deaths and things are starting to improve. So we're getting a little optimistic right now.
Excellent. Do you have anything to add, Denise, from your perspective?
Really not too much. He's right. I think Florida and our area it depends on what county and what area of Florida you're in. Our particular area where our business is located has had some issues with the virus and all of that. But overall, I think it's been pretty good. We've been able to not have quite as many cases going on. And as Jeff said, we're starting to open back up and little by little and get everybody out there working and things like that again. And working from home, obviously, our whole team, it's been a real good learning experience, I think, for all of us at ITS, really getting into using some of these tools like the video conferencing and other things to manage ourselves on an everyday basis as a team.
Well, and that's a good segue, I think. You are in the Himalayas of South Florida. So I think it'd be good to kind of describe your area, but also how you built your network for this kind of, well, probably not this, what you weren't expecting this, but how you built your network to survive these kinds of things.
Well, it probably like a lot of your viewers here today that run telcos, we're always trying to overbuild and make our networks as bulletproof as possible. And of course, we are fiber. We're a fiber company. We've got an ILEC and a CLEC, all underground, 100%. We're in a hurricane-prone area, and so everything's underground. And so we're built from that standpoint to handle hurricanes without having to worry about it. But in addition to that, some of the things that we've done is we've got a tremendous amount of excess bandwidth, that we provide. We've got multiple routes to the internet. And so we always keep a very low usage rate percentage of our capacity. So having a lot of capacity, it's really been a good thing right now. So actually the network is held up good, and we've not missed a beat.
That's excellent. I think it reflects what I've been hearing from a lot of other providers too. And I suppose, are you seeing a lot more upstream traffic because of the work from home?
So we are seeing some, but remarkably not a lot. We've been kind of wondering if the people who have now gone home are using about the same amount of bandwidth as they were when they were at their office. And the upspeed, the upside being a little bit more because of the VPN work and all that kind of things. But what was kind of interesting to us is that when things first started hitting, is the companies that were calling us and starting to ask us, can we buy up some dedicated bandwidth? While we've got more than enough, people really wanted to lock down how much bandwidth that they had, and they knew that they could count on, because they knew that the VPNs were going to start sucking up more bandwidth and that kind of thing. And so that was a big thing that people made a rush. It was almost like toilet paper, where everybody ran and tried to grab on the sledgehammer, started wanting dedicated bandwidth. So that was one of the first big impacts that we noticed.
And I do want to ask you about your other business, and this is the perfect segue to ask about that, because you guys also run the water and sewer system too, right? Has there been any correlation between, like flushes in the middle of the day versus earlier? Or?
Well, speaking of toilet paper, not a real big difference, but the truth of the matter is water usage is up, and, in that regard, because people are at home and they're using the water. And that type of thing, just like, from the residential standpoint, people are using internet because they're working from home right now. So not a lot of difference. One of the big things is, protecting our employees and the customers. And we've gone to great lengths to do that and have been very successful.
Well, you always had like the plexiglass in your front office, right? So that was kind of a natural protection, it seemed like.
Yeah, we've taken some procedures. The girls in our customer service representative sales area, we've even put stanchions like 6 foot out from their windows so the customers stay out. We've gone procedures like one person per one CSR at a time, 6 foot spacing. We've asked to wear masks, and lots of cleaning in between and all those type of things. And so, first everybody's a little bit uneasy, but we've just really tried to take a sledgehammer to a mosquito on this thing. And so our people feel comfortable about it. And so far, everything has gone real well.
Are you still getting people coming in, paying their bills in person, that sort of thing?
We are. In our particular area, we have a lot of walk-ins, actually. And that has decreased some. We've put a lot of effort into try to converting them into electronic payment means and those type of things. Some people have taken that, and those who haven't, they just have to wait in line a little bit now until they fit in. But it's going very smoothly.
So back to that thread of, you were talking about people wanting to reserve bandwidth, making sure they had their share of the toilet paper bandwidth. Does that implication, have you needed to increase your backhaul bandwidth to the internet at all, or has that been an issue there?
First of all, we have so much bandwidth that we have available to us, which is way over. We probably are only about 20-25% we utilize of our bandwidth. That's just the way we've always had it. So truthfully, those people that went to get the dedicated bandwidth probably didn't benefit. But the truth was, how greed is, just like with toilet paper. I mean, they're like, I want to lock it up. I don't want to take any chances. We have some significant customers, most of the government, the hospitals, and all those type of people. And then there was a lot of other people realizing they're getting into video that wanted to increase their bandwidth. So we have a lot of upsales on that side of things too.
Denise and I were talking yesterday about, and you mentioned government, some of the Wi-Fi hotspots that you've helped enable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You want to talk about that, Denise?
Yeah, we had one of the particular places was through one of the schools here in Indiantown that had a significant amount of students that may not have had their internet at their home. And the school specifically called us and asked us if we could bring a hotspot over to their area so people could come out there and use the bandwidth if they weren't able to afford to get it at home. In addition to that, we offered free internet to lower income families to try to get some of those people connected for their kids, because obviously the schools all went to the online thing. And then all of a sudden they found out, the families that were maybe using a library or some other source didn't have that source anymore. And they really see the value of having to have the internet at their house. So we have a program going on right now where we're giving the free internet to those who qualify. And then we did the hotspots as well in areas like the schools where they needed it.
That's impressive. That's well beyond Chairman Pai's Keep America Connected pledge, it seems.
Yeah, we felt we needed to, right, Jeff?
Yeah, it was interesting because the day we put the offer out, we got slammed. And so here we're trying to talk to our employees about social distancing, wear a mask, all these things, and how to take care. And we're only going to be worried about trying to go into where we really need to go. And the next day we get slammed with low income requests for doing internet. And it was also kind of funny at the school because when they first called me, they said, could you set up your internet so that people can access it, throughout the neighborhood for those people who already have it? And I said, well, what are you thinking? And I said, she said, well, there's all these kids, they need to get access to the internet. And I said, do you know that we're giving free internet to everyone who's low income or people who've lost their jobs and need it? And she said, oh, I didn't realize that. And I said, well, what were you going to do? And she said, well, we were just going to tell kids to, go near those houses and they could do their homework. And I said, what are you going to do? That's at night. I mean, you're going to have kids all over the neighborhood outside at night. I said, just call us. We'll put it in for free. And our guys were really proud to do that. We think we helped a lot of people. We gave them 90 days. We expect we'll probably give them more. I doubt that a lot of them, we don't believe more than 25% will keep it. But, I think it's an investment that we needed to make in our community. And we were proud to do it.
Well, that's wonderful. And Indiantown itself, I mean, it's not exactly a wealthy community, right?
No, very, very, a lot of migrant people that are there from South America, Mexico, that kind of thing. Yeah, I would say very low income.
And one of the things, though, I think you mentioned, Denise, that the schools actually had computers, so it wasn't a device issue.
Right. I believe the schools did an issue out, the elementary and middle school that are in Indiantown, and I believe the private school as well. They issued laptops to all the kids so they would be able to work at home. And it's my understanding that they're going to have them keep them now because they're not really sure when they're going to go back in the fall. They know they will, but they're just preempting if anything else could happen. I talked to one of the school principals the other day, and he told me that they were letting the kids keep the laptops until further notice. And that's how they managed it because they wanted everybody to be able to have a way to communicate via the internet.
That's impressive. Here in Silicon Valley, that's been a real challenge, is the devices. That's been one of the challenges.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And I think that was part of the challenge, but they met the challenge and were able to get laptops for everyone.
They were the tough thing though right now is getting them for anybody else right now. Even ourselves, we're a little tight at times on cameras, laptops, computers, all those type of things. Very hard to get good quality ones right now.
Yeah, I've heard that. Unfortunately, I've got mine on my computer here. So one of the things that that drew me to this conversation was I noticed that you were offering free video conferencing during this time. So maybe you can talk to that, what the offer is and what your motivation was.
Well, obviously people, needing to work from home. And so we thought about what are we going to do for the residents? So we did the free internet. We also took the FCC challenge. And so we're not requiring anybody to pay before June 30th if they are COVID related. Okay. And then it was down to what about all the businesses, especially in our CLEC. We're a big IT company, do a lot of IT work and things in addition to hosted PBX and all the other services that we do, data center services. And so what we wanted to figure out what we could do. And so we offered to all of our businesses to provide them with video conferencing, our video conferencing platform for free through June 30th to start out with, see where that takes us to. And we also encourage because like even in our own company, we've got a lot of people, our offices are set up where a lot of our people have their own office. And at first we didn't send everybody home. And so being in their own office, they probably still would be pretty safe. And so we kind of came up with the idea, well, why don't we just do how to work remotely in the office? And so we've tried to help all of our companies get the video conferencing software where they can initiate a video conference by every employee in the entire company. And so a lot of our companies now are back and forth. They're doing all their video conferences, even when people are in the offices, all by video conference. People are getting really good about that. And we've had some great things. I'm sure Denise is going to have some great things to tell you. We've done some exciting things with it.
Yeah, I wonder, kind of looking long term, and this just occurred to me when you were saying that, I wonder if it could change the meaning of a meeting room, right? I mean, suddenly, do you physically need a meeting room?
Oh, I think it definitely could change that. We've proven that. We have internally, we have a conference or a meeting every Monday of all of our managers, and we've been doing that now steadily with the conference, and it's worked out excellent. I think everyone's really getting used to it, and so are all the companies that we're doing this with. I've heard some comments, they really never really realized how easy it could be to do all of this and to do it remotely. And it allows them, that some people even say they see each other more often now with the video conference tool than they did prior to using it, just because, oh, okay, I can just quickly go on and have a video chat with somebody in an instant, and then I have to get out of my office and go halfway across here. Or in our case, we have to go to different buildings. So for us, I think an ongoing thing could be this, because we are all in different buildings. And so a meeting in the conference room could go by the wayside. I don't know.
And it's you've got apps and everything like that too, right? So
absolutely, the mobile app. So it doesn't matter where you are; you could be anywhere. And a lot of when we have our meetings with the whole company, we've had a couple of lunches. In fact, instead of having a company lunch, we're having a company lunch with everybody via video. And some of the people are using their mobile phones because they're the technicians out in the field doing what they're doing. And we have other people in their offices, other people at home. So it's it doesn't matter where you are, and they're able to come on and do the lunch or the meeting, whatever it happens to be.
That's fun.
One of the things, Ken, that I worry about as the CEO, and that is that, the video thing is a great thing. And truthfully, what Denise said is, we're probably seeing more of each other than we ever have before. And I think another thing we're finding is our employees are probably working more hours than they were before from home than they were in the office. We're certainly, getting the job done. But one of the concerns we have, and it's something I think would be a great discussion topic for a lot of people, is we all try to navigate this. It's all right, we all did this. It probably worked out pretty good. Now the question is where do we go from here? Are we going to bring everybody back in? Are we not? I see that, while these things are all really great, and they really do, they really are very effective and efficient. There's also that part of, there is a part of the camaraderie. There's still a little something missing in building that, relationship with people and whatever, and the teamwork and all those type of things. So I'm sure that that this video will be a big part of our future. But the other part is we're going to start to have to navigate and figure out what do we do now to also meet that other need. And so it'll be interesting to see how that develops.
Yeah, there was, and I keep repeating this because I found it kind of profound, but there's something about needing to actually kind of move your whole body, right? Not just sit here like this. And so you're kind of missing communications when you do that.
You do. Denise might tell you a little bit more about our, Denise handled our last, she's been handling them all. Every 2 weeks, we do have everybody goes to lunch together online. And we pay for everybody's lunch if they will show up. And Denise wants to.
So you would have bought my peanut butter and jelly sandwich today? Darn.
We actually have encouraged all of our employees to pick something up on a takeout.
Nice.
Just because we're trying to support
the restaurants.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But Denise, why don't you tell them what we did this last week? And we do this every other Thursday. So a week from yesterday will be our next one. But this last one, I can't believe how into it all of our employees get into these things. Why don't you tell them, Denise?
Well, what we decided to do was play a game during the lunchtime And we were trying to also find a way to continue to teach our employees how to use all the tools in our conference platform. Our conference platform is fairly similar to Zoom, and it has whiteboarding tools on it and presentation tools and things like that. So we decided to do a Pictionary game. So we had 2 teams, and we practiced using the whiteboarding tool and sharing our screens. And they would select, each team would select somebody to do the drawing, and then we would use the whiteboarding tools to draw whatever the word was. I had a word generator that would automatically generate me a word to give to the person, and then we used the chat tool to privately chat with the individual who was drawing, so nobody else would know what it was. And then they would get on there and try to draw just like you do in regular Pictionary, whatever it is. So it was really fun. I was wondering if it would be a disaster or not, but it turned out to be pretty fun, and it worked.
That's
and it
hilarious.
helped people learn how to use all the tools too. So that was the good part out of it.
So each team, how many people were there? There are like 10 per team, or how many people do you have?
There's
now?
about 12 per team. There's about 20 something of us. So somewhere between 10 and 12 people on each team. And so not everybody got to draw, but other people got to yell, guess at what the word was. So everybody got to do that, whether they got a turn to draw or not. We only did like 5 rounds on each team, because otherwise it would have taken too long. But we just experimented to see if we could do something like that.
Did you save the drawings?
No, we did not. I didn't record it. I realized that after I was done, I was like, I should have recorded this. And I didn't. That was my bad. I should have done that. It would have been fun to play it back later on.
I was kind of skeptical at first that everybody would get into it, And Ken, I don't think we've ever done anything more fun. I mean, our employees got into it like you can. I mean, they got very competitive. I mean, they were yelling and shouting. I mean, and then several of them said, well, when's our next meeting?
Oh, that's hilarious.
So it was definitely a real win for us.
And we gave little prizes. We gave Amazon gift cards to the winning team. Because again, we're doing everything online. So we kind of played along with that theme, here's something you can use online while you're still not able to go into a lot of stores and all of that kind of thing. So that was.
This kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with Shirley Bloomfield and Tanya Sutherland a couple of weeks ago. The whole idea of, the different kinds of divides, right? There's the quote unquote broadband divide, or the digital divide, where most people think about access to it. But I think one that we kind of touched upon there is the whole idea of a platform divide. The fact that, you know one platform, but you don't know another, and a group of people. And it seems that's a fun way to cross that platform divide.
It is.
It is.
Yep.
Have you been doing those kinds of things with your customers as well, or, helping them?
We haven't done the games. We've suggested it to them, and we do know some have really tried it, and so everybody I've ever talked that's tried it has really really enjoyed it, and it's been beneficial to them and everything like that. But one of the things that's really neat with our platform is that when we're telling our customers, hey, why don't you try this out? It's free for now. I think you're going to really benefit, and it's a fully integrated with our phone system, the presence, everything is there, so you can really get a lot of utility out of it. And so what we do is when we demo it, we'll take them in and we'll just say, well, now pull up the whiteboard, and they'll say, well, where's that at? Oh, well, right down here. Share your screen, pull up the whiteboard. And one of the things that's been cool about ours is because it uses part of the Zoom platform, is that many of our customers have done little Zoom meetings, at their churches and stuff like that now. So like when they open ours up, they're very easily adaptable to it. And people can, that our customers are already know how to take the whiteboard, how to show their screen, how to do those things. And so it's like 15 minutes. Our customers they're experts at it. And if we just ask them to do it themselves, they're amazed and they get it done.
Yeah, I think that this crisis is helping finally launch video conferencing, right?
It is.
I think so.
Yep.
And one of the things, you're on the Metaswitch platform, right? So, I mean, you alluded to this, but you're telephone first, right? I mean, you fundamentally have the product that people need, high quality, reliable, right?
Yep. Yeah, and when you put it all together, since you mentioned we also have their Accession product is how we're doing the video. I guess it's now called Max Meeting, and all that integrates together. And I never really understood the value of presence. I was always like, oh, these guys are talking about presence. I'm never going to use that. Well, when you get into video conferencing and you get into, I'm speaking to people on every device they could possibly have from any location in any way, presence is huge within your own company. Nowadays I need to get someone into a meeting. I'll say, well, let me get him in a meeting. I can go over to presence, see that, oh, he's on the phone. So I go to my chat, send him a chat and say, hey, look, I really need you in this meeting. Can you jump in? I mean, I can't believe how valuable those things are. So our lives are changed forever. I mean, this will be a main way we do business going forward. Our sales guys are adapting to doing sales calls with it. And they know that if they can just get 5 minutes and get somebody on this video, that they can appeal to them. I've been doing a lot of negotiating in a big negotiation earlier this week. And a lot of the attorneys that are on the screen, they come in with black screens because they don't want you to see them. But, I always turn mine on. And some of those, I'm the only one that's got their video on. But, I want them to see my expressions. I want them to see my passion. I want them to know that person you're trying to take advantage of is a real person, and they get it. It does work.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And from a local perspective too, I would think that gives you a real leg up on, the national or international competition, right?
Well, I haven't really thought a lot about them, and everything, but yes, because the problem with the national and international, we always find, especially like in the hosted PBX and other things we do, is it's some remote guy that's out there. They don't know anything about their networks. They don't know why it isn't working at their houses and all this type of thing. They're trying to talk them through those things. Well, we like a lot of the companies like us, have really close relationships with their customers. And so we hold their hand. We find out about a 15, 20-minute session with each one. We can make them an expert. We're there. They know who to call. It's going to work. We check up on them. And that's probably a huge benefit compared to the national groups that try to compete and just say, here it is. You should know what you're doing. Make it happen. But, offering IT services like we do, it's getting us IT sales, by getting people set up, setting up firewalls, making sure their communications are secure. And so in this time where it's been difficult, it's opened up more business lines for us on how we address not only the video conferencing, but all the things that go along with it.
So has it helped as far as, with your data center, you had the ability to remote a lot of things that they would have on site, right?
Yes, we do. And it's kind of amazing because, our sales have slowed down, and not that we're losing them, but a lot of people are saying, hey, I got to wait till COVID's over before I make this commitment and that kind of thing. But what has been amazing is that the IT sales have been coming in very strongly during this period of time. And a lot of it is related. This is such a great icebreaker to say, hey, look, try my video conference for free. I know you need it. You got employees working from home. Okay. And so, why don't you try it? And that just brings us right in. Well, what about your IT? What about your security? What about your, wiring? You need cabling. What are you doing at home? And as a result, it really feeds a lot more of opportunity.
I'd imagine too, some of this is actually outside your service territory now too, just by the nature of some of those businesses, right?
Yeah. That's one good thing about anything, considering this as an IT product, like we might, we can sell it anywhere.
And so speaking of sales, it seemed like, and Denise let me in on this scoop yesterday. I wasn't as diligent about, I guess, reading about the press, but it sounds like Microsoft purchased Metaswitch. So I don't know if you want to give any first impressions on that, or.
Well, we're on Microsoft 365, everything else, Office, everything else. So, I'm hoping that means that there's going to be, good, coordination between all of that. And, the people that are adjusting everything else we do now will have a chance to affect us in this area. So I'm thinking it could be a really good possible thing down the line.
Yeah, they're also, I haven't seen anyone really talk about this, but they're also one of the database administrators for some of the spectrum, the CBRS, Citizen Bound Radio spectrum. And I think they're probably going for, I know TV white spaces, they've been big proponents of that. So I found that, maybe this is part of a comprehensive plan, right, for a 5G future or something.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
But I got to imagine that they will probably continue to develop like the accession product and with more software, options and things like that. And so it could I'm looking at it very optimistically. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to call from your Microsoft Word document or PowerPoint or something, right?
Maybe. Never know.
I don't know why you'd want to, but
you never know. You never know.
But, well, it is getting close to, I believe, 5 o'clock in your time zone, and
Yes, it is.
and it's always great to catch up with you guys. I wish it was in person. It's been a couple of years since I've been down there, but look forward to at some point seeing you guys in person again. So.
Likewise, Ken. Thank you very much. It's really great seeing you. Pray that you, your family, and all the people who are listening are staying safe and doing their best. And there's one thing for sure, we're going to all get through this together and make it happen. But really look forward to the day we can at least get out and elbow bump.
Exactly. And before we go, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about next week's show. We're going to have Thomas Crowell, who wrote the Pocket Book for filmmakers and the pocketbook for comic book makers. I believe those are the titles. I should have them in front of me. But I've known Thomas for about 17 years, and he's an IP attorney who used to be a film producer. And so he knows copyright left and right. And so like the back of his hand. So, and one of the questions I've had recently relating back to the video conferencing, a lot of times people are playing YouTube videos within a Zoom call and then rebroadcasting that, right? So the copyright just kind of gets my head spinning. So those are the kinds of things I want to ask him.
Yeah, that is cool.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, so next Friday, same bat channel, same bat time. So if you guys will stay on for a second, I'm going to hit the end stream. And it is